It's your host, Holly, and it's time for a little teaser talk. You ready?
I am. Let's do it.
Welcome to Rockville, day 2, you guys. I'm here with Mike, that's alive, but from Mike's dead.
Yeah.
Barely alive, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm still standing.
Yeah. Well,
Barely.
technically you're sitting, but
Fair.
there it is. Okay.
Fair.
And I'm saying that because you guys played earlier today, which I have questions about. But real quick, you literally are back to back. And how many hours of sleep have you had?
I have probably had like 2 hours of sleep. We played in Myrtle Beach last night and then did 7.5 hours driving overnight so that we could play at 1 o'clock today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it in my voice. I'm tired.
No, well, you still sound great. So
Thank
there's
you.
that. So today you guys not open, but we're the beginning of the day, which is nice because it's nice and windy today. Yesterday was awful. But how was the crowd? I mean, the energy's amazing out there.
They're great.
Yeah.
I think starting the day off pretty early is a little like we're used to playing at like 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which either or it works for me. But I think starting the day off, everyone's just getting here.
Yeah.
So they're not ready to like kill each other in the pit.
That's kind of nice though, especially if you're exhausted and you're like, oh,
yeah,
don't have the energy just yet to die.
It worked really well. We had a great crowd. They're very responsive, and that's all I can really think of. The staging, I think, this year is a little interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We were on Vortex, which is like the third stage, but it's kind of tucked away.
It is. You know, yesterday I was trying to find a show or band playing there.
Yeah.
And it was like, where's Waldo?
It's a little hard to find.
I was like trying to listen to music, but there's music coming from everywhere. So it's sense of sound is not a good way to navigate your way through these crowds for sure. So with that being said, I know you said it's always kind of a blur with the least amount of sleep, but is there any like memorable moments or anything crazy that you saw? And it was a little
from today?
Yeah.
Nah,
today was last night.
Today was a standard show.
What about yesterday?
Yesterday, it's all blurry. We've been on the road for like 2 weeks now, so I'm like at the delusional point.
You're like, what is yesterday?
Yeah, I really had to think about it. I would say the Texas shows that we did last week were probably my favorite.
Yeah.
They were with Motionless in White and In This Moment. And I think those just like Texas always goes so hard. And I don't know. I think those shows stuck out a little bit more just because Texas is so rowdy. It's very hard to follow it.
Texas definitely does it bigger for sure.
Yeah.
So as an artist that's known for pushing boundaries and blending genres, I'm curious what creative inspirations or influences and how do you approach infusing those genres in your unique sound?
I think I come from like an electronic music background, which is really unique because it's such a different industry.
Yeah.
And as I produce and write everything myself, so it's having full control versus a lot of bands are like, oh cool, we got to hire a producer who's going to write all the parts, he's going to basically write the whole fucking song for us and we'll just perform it. For me, it's like, no, I'm going to intricately break down every single section of this song.
That's awesome.
And then use different elements than most other bands. Like we don't have a bassist. All of our bass is synth bass or 808s and shit like that. And it's spaced out a little bit differently. So I think having a different influence and a different background in production is very big into why our songs sound differently.
You stand out for sure.
Exactly.
In a good way.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So giving that innovation or that innovative approach to music and performances, how do you see your music maybe evolving or developing? And are there any other genres you want to kind of experiment with your sound?
I think I'm like in the middle of that right now.
Yeah.
As far as like really building an authentic sound that's very unique in my own.
Mm-hmm.
The last single that came out is very much like that. It's very just me. It's very still got those heavy metal like elements, but it's very different and unique. And then the next song that comes out is like a fucking industrial hardcore song. Like I love hardcore. I love punk music in general. So like coming from those types of roots, it's like, all right, I got to do one. I got just one. I got to do one that's very heavy. Yeah, I got to have one that's like very fucking heavy. So we're in the midst of doing that right now.
Well, yeah, I can't wait my last question. We'll pause that. We're going to take that for a moment, but I got more questions on that for sure. But with your dynamic stage presence and genre-defying sound, like we just talked about, how do you aim to connect with audiences on a personal level? Because with you writing and having your hands in everything, how do you take that and put it into the crowd, if you will?
Authenticity and energy.
I love that.
The thing is like, you can't, I think we had this conversation with my agents. It's like, you have to book us like a punk band because we're a 3-piece band that's very loud, very energetic, and very like all over the place. It's like, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a little bit sloppy. It's going to be a little messy, but that's what makes it unique, is that we haven't done a ton of like support stuff. Like, we haven't opened for a lot of bands.
Yeah.
The first band we ever did was like Ice and Kills last year.
Nice.
And now we're doing it In This Moment. And it's like, fans, I think, get there. They don't know who we are.
Yeah.
And they expect the dog shit opener. And all we've ever really done is headline, but just on obviously a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And we get up there and we fucking headline.
Yeah.
And people are like, what the fuck just happened? I was expecting a shitty opener.
And then surprise and delight.
Yeah, it's surprising the fuck out of everyone.
Yeah.
Because we have so much energy, and like we all get on that stage like, this is our stage now.
Yeah.
And it's that energy and authenticity that I think drives a crowd to being like, oh, these guys are good, and they know their shit. Okay, cool.
Correct. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, it's funny you say that because years and eons ago, In This Moment was kind of that band. Not that I was thinking they were going to be shitty, but I just didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
And I was already like on the rail, mosh pit. I'm like, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to listen to every. And as soon as she came on, I was like, I'm in love.
Yeah.
So I love like when those bands surprise and delight you, because then you're like, okay, immediately like follow, download, consume their music. So
yeah,
very cool. Well, lastly, going back to our little parks convert question that I had for you. So you said you're working on some cool new stuff and you're kind of in that process. Is there any new collaborations, maybe new music you kind of tease people with, and what we could expect from you in 2024?
No new collaborations, but we do have a new song coming out at the end of June.
Beautiful.
We kick off a tour with Upon a Burning Body in like the second to third last week of June.
Mm-hmm.
We're out with them for like a month, so we figured put out a new song right before, kind of like right as that's starting.
Yeah.
And then a new music video kind of to accompany it.
Nice. To kind of spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, we did that with this current run. Like, we put it out like a week or two before we left.
Mm-hmm.
And then music video like last week, and then now we're in the midst of the tour.
Kind of like feeding people going and going.
Yeah, and then we're kind of out doing our
fire.
shit. And then, I'll get home in June, have like a week or two off, and then right back on the road. It's very exhausting, but
well, I admire your dedication and how you're awake right now, honestly.
I'm dying.
Thank you so much, Mike, for being on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Teaser Talk. Head over to teasertalk.com to subscribe so you don't miss out on another episode. Until next week, keep rocking.